Good morning, YouTube. It's Mail George Page coming to you live on YouTube. Well, happy 4th of July, everybody. It's the day of the independence of America. And, well, not the independence of our people. As you know, our independence started Juneteenth, and that was last month. But, we still celebrate this holiday, which doesn't mean too much to black people, but, it means a lot to most Americans. So anyway, as you know, it won't be long for the start of the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. As you know, I'm a big fan of Olympics. I love the Olympics. I did a video yesterday about Shakara Richardson, which she's a young up and coming athlete, and her decision to had smoked weed, and and it's important for her also to remember to recognize her how society works and how things are going. You know. So I remember a while back I was, just watching the news and just surfing the internet that the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee, had put in a new rule that there is no protesting to be done in the Olympics. Well, this rule, what I believe is targeted towards American athletes. Now, there are other countries that have some political issues, that's been going on for a long time, but I think it's more focused on America. Especially what's been going on the last few years with issues with the George Floyd situation and other um, things that's been going on here. Now, as you know, a while back, if you follow me and if you're, I'd like to mention, talk about, I'm a friend of a gentleman by the name of Coach Shane Harrison. And we talk about a lot of stuff. And a while back, Coach had a live stream. We talked about a upcoming athlete, by the name of one Miss Gwen um, Berry. Now, Gwen is a top-notch athlete, and she's supposed to be heading to Tokyo in the next few months. So, he talked about her, and Gwen is a hammer thrower. Now, Gwen is very much activist, especially when it comes to matters of black people, of our community, of our people. Now, and she's pretty good. I mean, I've seen some videos of her here and there, and Coach mentioned her, and she's amazing. She's an amazing athlete. All her background is that also she's a single mother. You know. Anyway, during the Olympic trials about a while back, she took third, and while she was on the podium, when they do, when you do the podium, they play the national anthem, she decided to protest. Now, there's nothing new about Gwen. She's been coming actress for quite some time. But the problem is that certain people, we know who you are, have an issue with it. Well, that's their problem, not ours. And Gwen is very strong about her beliefs. You respect that. But the problem is people don't. And it's funny how a country that was grown out of activism, out of rebellion, out of, oppression because, well, the story of how America started because of taxation from the British to the early Americans and how they wanted to get from under the English rule, you know, they started a rebellion and a revolution. But you can't respect somebody's rights to protest because mostly protest is not about the flag so much as about what's going on underneath that flag in the song. you know. And Gwen is truthfully, Miss Berry is a wonderful, great person, a great athlete, a beautiful woman. But there's so many people have an issue with what she's doing. And I always have issue. Whenever there's a problem concerning in our community, it doesn't concern theirs. You know. And she did. This is not the first time she done it. This was a while back. It was at the Pan Am Games. As you know, the Pan Am Games is kind of mini version of the Olympics. It's mostly between America and countries around other side of the border. And she protested at that games too. You know. And this is why people like her and others protest. Like what happened is, the murder of George Floyd, who just got sentenced not that long ago. And still, even though, that little bit of justice happens, the system has not changed. And it won't ever change until we put a push to it. And people are going to see people like her, like Gwen, and so many others as anarchists and rebels. But history has always had their fair share of anarchists and rebels. And then history has validated those anarchists and rebels and made them heroes. A good example of that is, you know, and she will someday be, vindicated as one of those. And God, she's thick. Oh my, I'm going to say professional, fellas. I'm going to say professional, but dang, you know, like many years ago, back in 1968 Olympics, Tommy Smith and John Carlos. Now, this was like during still about the good parts of the years of the civil rights movement. A little bit after the death of Dr. Martin Luther King and the Black Panther movement, and they got on the opponent and they, did the Black Fist, and that was, it was just so extreme. And even after that, they had a hard time. And the gentleman right in front of them, one Mr. Peter Norman, supported him. You know, Norman was also another uh, athlete. He was from Australia. And so people don't know about this. Australia had a long history of the abuse of the Aboriginal people there. And Norman's support of Carlos and Smith was seen as not a good thing by Australia. And after that, when he went home, he had a hard time finding job, work. They saw him as an anarchist, and then he just was pretty much blackballed for a long time. Now, when Peter Norman died, both Smith and Carlos was there to be his pallbearers. They buried this man because they respected him, because he supported them. And then, like I said, people say there are some white people who do support our right for to be recognized and for fair play in our community, and I respect those people. And I would give a lot of respect to Peter Norman for what he did. He really, they really, he did the outcome of this. He didn't see that it was gonna mess his life up. So I'm gonna say to Peter Norman, rest in peace, and bless you. And then you can't forget the greatest, Muhammad Ali. Now this man, he fought in the Olympics in 1960, and he fought several opponents to win a gold medal. He earned his gold medal. You know, he went there to represent his country. He felt like, being a black man, he felt like he was a true American, going over there fighting and winning a gold medal for the country, and he come back home getting disrespected. And he was so mad for that he took his gold medal that he worked so hard for, all the years of training and working, and probably missing out a lot, being a young man, missing out having a life, enjoying life. He took that gold medal and threw it into the Mississippi River. You know what? If everybody find that medal, they'll be rich. And you know what? He did it. He didn't care because he felt so disrespected that this medal didn't mean anything to him. And ever since then, he always been, man who stood up about activism. When he was trying to push him to go into the military, become a mascot for the army to fight over during the Vietnam War. And he said, "Nah, I'm not going to Vietnam because no Viet Cong would call me boy." But truth was, Viet Cong didn't like us either. They didn't like black people anyway. But still, I know what he meant. You know. And you know what? After that, he had a hard time. He couldn't fight. He lost his fighting license. So what he do? Well, he did the lecturing circuit, going to colleges and talking to the youth. And that's what it is. It's the youth that validate people like him, that turn him into a hero. Not the old, not the anybody. It's the youth, because the youth have more open mind. They see when there's somebody who's going to be, something greater than them. And then years later, he lights the torch at the '96 Olympics in Atlanta. I know people were joking about that, shaking, like that, but hey, give me respect. They picked him out. Anybody could have picked, they picked him to light that torch. And then they gave him another gold medal after the one he got rid of. And that's respect. He earned it. And then no long after that, President Bush gave him the Medal of Freedom. Now, people years ago who hated him for what he did, for not refusing to get drafted to Vietnam, respect and love this man. Now, there's still some people still hate him, but there's more people that love him for what he did, to stand up for his rights. You know. Then you get Colin Kaepernick, you know, a young up and coming football player, a quarterback, a guy who's been in the Super Bowl, you know, pretty much a guy who was probably at the verge of setting records, doing things that most people, you know, could never do. Well, Colin decided, you know, realized that he needs to speak up, to stand up, to point out the injustices going on in the black neighborhood, police brutality. Now, rigid people forget that. That Colin used to sit through the national anthem. And this is the thing, people forget that back in the day, that players didn't have to come out there when national anthem was played. They sat in the back. But because this is around about the time of 9/11, the United States, you know, the Pentagon paid the NFL millions of dollars for recruitment. So they bought the NFL's patriotism. They bought it. They didn't ask them. They bought it. Back in the day, you could ask for somebody, but hey, the NFL's big business. So Colin's talking about what's going on in our community, what's happening. And I'm hearing people saying like, well, he's only half black. But here's the thing is, back in the day, if you have a drop of black in you, you're black. It doesn't matter what half it is or what half is not. He's black. That's the truth of it. And he was just pointing out the injustice. He wasn't. Wasn't about, you know, disrespecting the troops or anything. And his thing was, he was told by a former Army Ranger to that back when one of their comrades had fallen, it took a knee to respect and remember him. Now this is funny how people talk about, oh, he respected his troops, but he was told by a military man, that to honor their own, they took a knee. And that's what they keep forgetting that. They forgetting that. You know? Keep forgetting that this is not about a flag, which is a piece of cloth, or a song which was created by, which has with some part racist lyrics in it. This is about the injustice that going on to people in the community. Stop and frisk, the murder of Eric Garner, the murder of Sean Bell, the murder of Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old boy playing with a gun. And cops in stop and say, hey, son, what you doing with the gun? He could have simply done that. Stop and ask the boy, what you doing with the gun? Talk to him like a child. You know, and Colin, he's going to become a hero. He's already there. And that's what we need. We need more black superheroes. And that's what Colin's going to be. No matter how many of these conservatives, right-wingers, and other haters and racists keep saying that he's not, he's going to be, he is already is. So you got to live with that. Because what I'm going to say like this, history is going to validate him. There's nothing you can do about that. But then you let people like the Ku Klux Klan, white supremacists, and other races walking up down the streets, you know, because they had the right of freedom of speech. And here's the thing about the Constitution. Is, you know, the Constitution was created after the Revolutionary War. And it was created at a time where, you know, there was issues when the country was developing, like especially the Fifth Amendment, you know, freedom of speech. But the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, was created to protect from enemies. But most of the enemies, the original enemy that we had is now an ally, the British. Then you have nut jobs, no more than a few months ago, no more, you know, that run up into the state capitol and try to kill senators and congressmen because they're mad because their so-called fearless leader lost a fair election. You can't take reality, but you can't accept the fact. But and no one was arrested in that. No arrests. There were some people were killed. Police were hurt. You gotta forget, and people forget this. How often have you heard Black Lives Matter killing police? Never, ever. But white supremacists have. There's been several cases of white supremacists, and you talk about, and Black Lives Matter have more respect for the police than anybody. It was more security at the last Black Lives Matter protest in Washington D.C. was when those nut jobs that hit D.C. Early this year. You know, they had more security. They had National Guards, and these are people peacefully protesting. But then you have people run up into the White House. Then you over in Michigan last year. We have a bunch of people with guns because they're mad about mask mandates. Measures are put in to protect, your dumb asses from getting a disease that were killing, affected people. My mother who got that disease, who died from it. But these dumbasses were mad because, the governor was wanting to put these mask mandates to protect you. Sometimes you gotta protect people from the damn self because they're too stupid. And you know what? It would be funny if there was a bunch of black people who had guns like this. You'd have 20, 30,000 SWAT team cops, National Guards everywhere. But you know what? It's easy for white people to walk around with guns with no questions asked. And that's the thing, you know. Why? That's double standard. But they want those scream out Second Amendment, Second Amendment. But when you people like Black Lives Matter or other any black protest group, they peacefully protest. They don't run up with guns. They don't threaten lives. They don't do no harm. But they're not. The threat's not if they have a weapon. The threat is their skin. And then people like this, because they're not seeing too much of a threat. But that's the problem is, those who are more like you are the ones who closely will start walk behind you, front of your back, up behind you, and stab you in the heart, because you don't think they would. They will. Also, I'm hearing like people talking about how Gwen is racist. But her good friend is Deanna, who's one of the women in the part of the Hammer Throw team. They're good friends, and Deanna supports her. Now if Deanna says if she did it, no one say anything about it. They'll call her un-American. But what's so un-American, especially, as I said again, of a country that was created out of revolution? That's more American than anything. But you don't say anything about when a bunch of white guys are walking in the middle of the dark with tiki torches saying, "We not be replaced." No one replacing you. Why would we want to replace you? It's sad. This is an example of evil. But when she gets talked about and say, "Oh, she took third place," but ask yourself, could you do what she do? Could you go out there and throw that ball like pretty much like half a mile down a field? No, you can't. Keep your ass at home. Keep your mouth shut. Leave this woman alone. She's an athlete. She does this for a living. Now, anything more about this? She's a true American. And I remember the great late Malcolm X says, a black woman is the most disrespected person in the face of America. A black woman has done more for this country than anything. Fed, bathed, wash. It's just, I was raised by a black woman. I have three sisters. I always respect the strength of a black woman. That's something that you never understand. I'm still a man. I have love for any kind of woman, but I always have greater love for my black women. And Colin Kaepernick, like I said, he's gonna get validated. He's already there becoming a hero. And someday he might even get a medal, just like Muhammad Ali. It's gonna be won't be long. Now Gwen's gonna be at the Olympics, and we don't know. She might make gold, she might not, but she's there. How many people can? And you just gotta think about it. There's a lot of people who compete and try to get the Olympics, but don't make it. It's kind of like any being you want to become into the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball. It's everybody who tries out but don't make it, and she's one of the few that did make it. But people hating on her. She got third place, where it's better than being sitting at home watching it on television. That's what you're doing right now. I have a lot of respect for Gwen Berry, what she's doing, her stance, and to honor our people, to be an athlete, to be a legend, to be a woman, to be a mother. And she's not doing it just for herself, but it's for her child. It's, many black women have to sit down and tell, especially if she has a son, to tell her child how to be careful when you go out there, how this country treat us. And let's not forget, this country's revolution started when a black man was killed, Crispus Attucks. You know, it's just this is true. He was kind of the first, black man who was shot because the color of his skin, not because he was there. He wasn't there at the protests, just to, the protests. He was probably minding his own business, and all they saw was a black man. They shot him, and I said, Colin Kaepernick, he's a true American. No matter how much you say that, oh, he's an anarchist, he's not American. He's a true American because you keep forgetting this country was created out of protest, and especially out of the blood of black people. Let's remember Crispus Attucks. I wish I had a picture of him. I should have put him on in, but I don't have enough room. Like I said, it won't be long. Someday, there's probably someday soon, both Greenberry and Colin Kaepernick are going to be validated as heroes. And no matter what, these haters, these racists, these fools who call them anarchists, rebels, they'll be the same ones going to be saying, wow, they were heroes, yeah, 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 because they're ignorance. There's an old saying, you don't stand for nothing, you fall for anything. There's a lot of people who don't stand for nothing. They always fall for anything. But these people stand for something, and they'll never fall. Not as long as we stand behind them. Well, I hope you enjoy your 4th of July. Shoot some fireworks. Probably some of y'all shoot fireworks yesterday. So y'all probably might be in church. Eat some hot dogs and hamburgers. Say your prayers. Anyway, it's your man, always George Praise. Don't like, subscribe. Don't subscribe. I'm out.